Hello. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to come in, and because today's recipe is really quick. If you're just joining for the first time, my name is Ashley. I write about food and recipes over at Big Flavors from a Tiny Kitchen. It's on bigflavorstinyKitchen.com. I'm on social media at Big Flavors. On Twitter, it's at Big Flavors Blog. And most times on Fridays, now at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, I come on and I show you how to make a recipe. I don't pre-prepare anything. I don't have like meat that's hanging out in the oven, partially cooked, or anything like that. Hi, Ellen. So it's been a fun challenge for it's been about half a year, maybe a little longer actually. Just trying to find things that are fun to make live so I can show you that, how it actually goes. Sometimes stuff goes wrong, whatever, it's fine. Trying to make it so that being in the kitchen is not so stressful. So today I'm going to show you how to make a mango, jicama, and black bean salad. Salsa. And I actually, first of all, if you haven't seen a jicama before, this is what it looks like. It's kind of looks like an onion, but the skin is kind of rough and it's papery. So inside, it's a root vegetable, and inside of the jicama, it's bright white, but it's not like other like fruits and veggies that will like oxidize and turn darker once it sits out. It stays really nice and white and crisp. The texture is kind of like, let's see. Have you ever had an Asian pear? How it's like, the flavor is almost like that too, but less sweet. Some people say it's like a savory apple, this one. It's also known as a Mexican turnip or yam bean. I don't understand that one. But it's a really great ingredient, and it's fun to use in salsas and slaws. It's great for dipping into, any sort of like pesto or any kind of dip that you have that you're serving. And it's just the crunch and how nice and cold it stays in the summer especially I really like. So, but I couldn't find it at Stop and Shop yesterday. I've never had a problem finding it before. I walked over to, there's a like a local Latin market here. They didn't have it either, so I was like, what's going on? So I called 9 different stores locally here in Westchester County until I found Whole Foods had jicama. So you might want to call ahead if you're not sure if a place will have it. So basically what we're going to do, I'm going to trim off the top and the bottom and then peel. You can use a vegetable peeler, you can use a knife, but the skin's really thin, just a little thicker than like the skin on ginger. So, and it's pretty papery. So I don't want to take too much off by using a knife. So I'm just going to peel it and then dice it up. Side note, if you're in Ossining, if you're local, Brothers Fish and Chips, the chef there, he's pairing up with the chef from Mariachi, Mexico, which I have not been to. It's in Armonk. Hi, Catherine. I haven't been to that restaurant, but the 2 chefs are working together. They're doing a 10-course tasting menu on Monday, July 29th, which is the day before my birthday. So I will be going, and I think it'll be a fun way to celebrate. So, like I said, the skin is real papery, and then it's really bright white on the inside. So I'm just peeling this with a Y peeler. My husband ordered this. I'll find a link to this because he found a Y-shaped one instead of like, usually I use this guy that I've had for like 1,000 years. He found this on Amazon because it's easier for him to hold, especially I think as a lefty and someone who doesn't cut things in the kitchen quite as often. He finds this one a lot easier, and I think he said it was like $2, so it works. I kind of like, you can have more of a handle on it while you're peeling. So I also have some fun tricks to show you for cutting mangoes, because I've shown it on my Instagram stories before, and whenever I've shown my favorite way, people are like mind-blowing. They think it's the coolest thing, and I was pretty excited about it too. And my husband didn't realize I'd been peeling mangoes like that, and he was making something for our supper club. He needed mangoes, and he was like, he was gonna do what the site online said to peel his mango, and I was like, oh my God, don't do that. I have such an easier way for you. So for this recipe, this salsa, I mean, you can easily scale it up or back, and you can use more of things if you want. It's really versatile. You could also change the fruit if you don't like mangoes. I have some ripe peaches in the fridge that I think actually might be really good with this too. I just really like the kind of sweet and savory component. So here's our jicama. I think actually, like if you're how you would say it in Spanish, jicama. So if you call stores and ask for it, you'll get a lot of like, what? They have no idea what you're talking about. So you might have to specify that it's a root vegetable from the produce department. All right, gonna cut this guy up, and whatever size you want to cut things for this salsa, just cut everything the same-ish size. It just makes it kind of, I don't know, it's easier to eat when everything is similar size. So I'm just gonna slice this maybe, let's see, what's this, like quarter inch, about half inch thick. And then, so I'm gonna slice and then flip this a little stack of slices over, slice it about the same thickness, and then turn it and cut it this way. That way they're little, let's see, little cubes. I'll show you. So you got little itty bitty cubes. You can do them a lot smaller. Some people don't like as chunky of a salsa. I do, but whatever you guys like. I also, this week, resigned from my part-time graphic design job that I've had for about 8 years now. I am doing food writing and recipe development full-time now, and it's exciting and scary, but it's something I've been doing for quite a while, and it's been growing and growing, and so it was just time. I actually, August 1st will be the 13-year anniversary of Big Flavors from a Tiny Kitchen, which, if you are interested, I've had people ask about the history of it. I first started on LiveJournal. Do you guys remember LiveJournal? And it was, I called my site Chopaholic, which is really cheesy, but I love a good pun, so it made me laugh. And then I moved over to Blogger, so blogspot.com. I still get traffic, I have it redirecting now, from bigflavors.blogspot.com. That's my old URL before I moved several years ago to my own. I use WordPress, but I'm self-hosted. So anyway, it'll be 13 years on the 1st since I've done my very first post. All right. So I'm going to do, this jicama was pretty small for the recipe. I say like half of one, of a small one. I'm going to do a little bit more because this one was really, really small. This is also nice to make ahead because you can keep it in the fridge and it will hold up, especially with the like crunchy fruits. You just want to make sure you're using, crunchy veggies. You just want to make sure you're using ripe mangoes because unripe mangoes are pretty sad. I'm gonna put the rest of this in. Have any of you guys tried these? I finally started trying these beeswax wraps. So it's coated with beeswax, and you can stick it on, like I have an orange I used half of yesterday. I put it cut side down and just wrapped it, and it sticks together, and you don't have to use plastic wrap. So you just, this pack I got came with a couple pieces, but you kind of like fold it and it sticks to itself. So like that's sealed, and like I don't know. It's one of my newer things that I'm trying out. I've been meaning to try it for years. I don't use a ton of plastic wrap, but I felt like cutting back would be good. So, one of my favorite ways to enjoy jicama also, if it's new to you, is put a little like chili lime. I get this stuff from Trader Joe's, but you could use tajin. Tajin? I don't know how you say it. I'm thinking of the Middle Eastern tajin, tadig. Anyway, chili lime salt sprinkled on jicama is delicious. Okay, So I've got the jicama, now a can of black beans, rinsed and drained, and then, you know, really drained well. I'm going to get my fingernail under these tabs. This, rinsing it just gets rid of the extra sodium, and it's, you can always add salt. I do put a little salt in this recipe, but you can always add more salt if you need it. But if something's too salty, it's like, ugh. When I cook black beans, though, like to go on top of rice, I don't get low sodium. I don't rinse them. I put the juices from the can in there also. And there is, if you've ever put just like I think it's like maybe a clove of garlic that you smash and a couple of sprigs of cilantro in with your black beans while they're simmering, and maybe like a pinch of cumin or something if you're feeling fancy. It's really, really good, and it really adds a lot of flavor to canned beans, although I like them by themselves. But all right, so I've got jicama and black beans in the bowl. And I'm sorry, Facebook has been really weird with notifications lately, so I'm sorry if I missed you. Hello. All right. Jalapeno, seeded, stemmed, and minced. I'm actually going to use a Serrano because for some reason, I say that my spicy meter is broken. I didn't like spicy food for many, many years, and now I'm into it. However, for some reason, to me, jalapeno peppers are spicier than Serranos. It doesn't make sense. That's not like scientifically how it is, but I think what it is jalapenos seem more variable on the scale, so sometimes you'll get a fine one and sometimes they're really, really hot. So I like Serranos better. And I sliced the stem off, sliced it in half, and then I'm using a tiny spoon to just kind of scoop the seed and the membrane out. Oh, other locals stuff going on. I haven't been yet, but today, I might go tonight. Ossining has a Food Truck Friday thing that's happening on the waterfront. And it started while we were away on vacation, so I haven't gone yet. And I feel like last week it was 8,000 degrees outside, so I was not interested. But I think I'm going to go tonight. If you've been, let me know. I've seen pictures. It looks like it's really nice. So I've cleaned out. No seeds or membranes in here. You could certainly leave them in if you like things really hot, or you could use a spicier pepper. You could leave it out altogether. I like having a little bit of a kick in here. You could also, I guess, like if you don't have a fresh pepper, you could maybe throw a little hot sauce in there. A couple dashes would be nice. You could use canned, like the pickled canned chilies, but I don't know if it would be as good because everything in here, I realize the black beans are canned, but everything in here is pretty fresh. Hi, Susan. So I'm just going to mince the pepper up a little. And I want to cut it pretty small so that nobody gets like a giant piece of hot pepper. Oh, speaking of mangoes, I made this from, I can put a link if anyone's interested. I made this chicken, it was a chicken mango cashew like stir fry kind of situation from someone else's website for dinner for my family this week. It was so good. It was really easy, and it cooked up, like it wasn't a lot of ingredients. It cooked up really like quickly, and I'm going to have leftovers for lunch today. It was really good. If anyone's interested, let me know. I'll pop a recipe for that. I'm also, I know I promised I was finishing it up soon, but I'm finishing up a post on how to make your own cold brew and revamping a couple old posts with some new images. Hi, Amanda. Hi, Catherine. All right, so in the bowl right now, I've got jicama, black beans, and some serrano pepper. You can use jalapeno, serrano, whatever. For those of you who just joined, I'm going to show you. I'm going to grab the other jicama that I got so you can see what it looks like. Sorry, I'm just like rummaging through my fridge. this is what jicama looks like. It's a root veggie. It's nice and crunchy and really good, like refreshing in the summer. Okay. 3 tablespoons of finely chopped red onion. I'm curious from you guys because I asked on Instagram recently and I got so many responses. Do onions look okay in the stores by you? Because I was at Stop and Shop this week and I saw this woman like pondering the onion section for, I mean, it seemed like an insanely long amount of time. And I came over because I needed to get some onions and I was like, yeah, the onions have been looking terrible, right? And she was like, oh my God, I thought it was just me. Oops, I'll use this half. She's like, I thought it was just me. I came to this store because the one in Terrytown has been so bad. I figured it was just that location. So it spawned this whole conversation, and the responses I got from my Instagram readers make it seem like it's kind of nationwide. I did check the White Plains Farmers Market, and the onions were beautiful, so I think it's like many different types of grocery stores, and they've all just been like moldy and kind of gross and soft spots, and it's been a while like that, so I'm just kind of curious if you guys are finding that also. Seems to be pretty widespread. And like last year, at least where I live, it was cucumbers were like that. So I heard from like Massachusetts, Maine, New Jersey. Can't remember if anywhere in the Midwest, but I could ask my family. So I'm just kind of like finely chopping some red onion. You could also use shallot, especially if you're not as into the flavor of raw onion. You could always also slice it up and then let it sit in like really cold water for 10-20 minutes, and that'll it'll make the flavor a little more mild of the onion. Ooh, this one's stinging my eyes. Okay, just gonna move this. I'm going to use, all right, I'll show you the mango trick now. I was gonna wait, but I will show you now. Try to get rid of this stuff. There's a couple different ways to peel a mango. I'll show you the way I learned to do it, like to peel and chop it up. And then I'll show you the way that I like doing it now. Once I figured out how to cut it like this, I have not looked back. I have seen people recommend peeling a mango first and then cutting it. I think that's an insane idea because, well, if you're comfortable doing it, cool. I feel like if I peeled it, then the inside is really slippery, the fruit, so I would be afraid that I would cut myself. So I don't advise that, but do what you like. Okay, so this is the way I learned. And these mangoes, I don't know if I'll do a good job pronouncing. The style of mangoes that I prefer, sometimes they're called champagne mangoes or Ataulfo, Ataulfo. So they're more yellow. There's other types of mangoes that are like kind of red and green, but I like these. And you want to get one that like feels soft but not super squishy. So like when you press lightly, it definitely gives a little under your thumb. So okay, quickly, the pit is like in the center. It runs down like a big part of the width of the mango. So to cut it away from the pit, you just kind of go down both sides, and then you can kind of try to get the edges too. And then I always like snack on the what's around the pit. But so you're just gonna kind of run your knife, and you can feel like a fibrous thing in there. So that's one side of it. So I just cut it right there, and then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. If your knife stops being able to move, you hit the pit and just kind of reconfigure a little. So now the pit is like pretty much here, like in the middle. So I'm just gonna cut like this to get the rest of the flesh free. And that you'll feel more of that fiber when you cut it. So legitimately, and my son does this too, this is the pit, and I don't want to waste, like I know there's definitely fruit on there, so I like, yeah, it's really good. Oh my gosh. And they're so ripe right now. Like, it's really good mango season. Okay. So the way I learned to do mangoes is you take the mango half and you score. You don't want to push your knife all the way through, but you go in one direction and then you go across in the other direction. And then there's two ways. You could either use a spoon, kind of like a like you're getting an avocado out, and scoop, and they'll just fall into the bowl. Or if you press on the back, you push it, you kind of invert it, and it makes this like punk rock, like mohawk situation. So then you take that and you just run your knife, you know, you kind of want to go along that curve so you get close to the peel without actually getting the peel, and that gives you chunks of mango. So that's how I learned, and that's how I did it for years and years and years. There's also another way to get the mango out of the skin. Is basically the same thing, except instead of scoring it in here first, you take a spoon and you like kind of dig it out. So this was the other way I had tried. But when you do this, you're kind of like pushing it a lot, you're getting some juices, but you just, you know, taking it right out of there. And then you put it on your cutting board and you dice it. And then you have a flat surface, so even though it's slippery, it's not as crazy as cutting the whole thing off the pit while it's peeled. It just seems crazy. And then the ends, you just slide your knife in between and slide it through, like right toward the skin. So you kind of make a little, like a little tiny cut, and then it'll slide nicely, and you just hold it down. Then you get kind of a log, and you just chop that. So, okay, but the way that I like doing it, and I'll show you with the other two, it didn't peel very well, is to use a glass to get it out of the peel. So any drinking glass that you have that's, you know, a little bit wide on top, it's not the super skinny type. So take a glass, you cut this away the same way that we did on the last one. Just cut those edges. You can kind of see the pit on this one, actually. It's a little white right there. It's hard, so if you get that in there, it'll be a little tough to eat. All right, so instead of, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. Instead of then scoring and then cutting it out of the peel, ooh, that one's got a big pit. I slide it along the rim of a glass. So watch. Get your glass, and you take a mango. Flesh side in here, you just kind of like poke it. So I'm doing this midair. It might not go well on this first one, but you poke it there, and then you just slide your hand and slide it down the glass. And then that's it. There's the peel. And that's your peeled mango. I don't know if this is as life-changing for you guys as it was for me, but it was pretty exciting. So then, once you do that, you just do the same little chop. Where's my scraper? That going into the salsa also. So I'm going to do that, and I'll do this now on my cutting board so you can see a little better. You just get that. I'll see if I can do it lefty this so you can see it a little better, but kind of got to get that initial little gouge into the flesh of the mango. I'm going to have to do this righty. My husband and son are both lefties, but you just slide it. And if you use a tall glass, you could do a bunch of them at once, and then you might have like a little bit of mango juice in the bottom, so you could drink that after. That's it. Like, so much easier. Hey, Allison. And that's it. So I've got those mangoes there. I'm totally gonna snack on that part later. You just want to wash your hands after you touch them before you grab your knife, so since they'll be slippery, you don't want to cut yourself. And get these little end pieces. I haven't tried this with strawberries, but I feel like strawberries and jicama would be really good together. And let's see. Do I have other things to tell you guys? Oh, it's really good like cut in matchsticks and slaws. It's great on tacos, like if you're doing fish tacos. It would be really good with some jicama. It's just a really fun ingredient, and I feel like it doesn't get used that much, at least as much as a lot of other veggies that are maybe not necessarily as tasty, but to each their own. My son really likes it too. I'm not sure what the carb level is on it because, hey boo. I'm not sure what the carb level is on them because it is a root veggie, so I feel like it probably has a lot of carbs, and I know several of you are on low carb or keto diets right now. All right, get the rest of this mango. Oh wait, I forgot one. I forgot two. Okay, almost done cutting the mango. And this will come. I mean, this comes together in like 5-10 minutes if you're making it and not yapping while you're cooking or non-cooking. This would also be okay. So I do this with chips, like just chips and salsa, but it would be really good on top of grilled fish, chicken, steak. I mean, I feel like the tropical flavors kind of lend themselves to seafood, like maybe some shrimp. That's already peeled. Okay. It would be good, like with a cheese board. Pop a little fruit salsa in there and some little scoopy tortilla chips, maybe. All right. Mango makes everything really slippery. Just real quick. All right, so that was my trick with the mango. I hope that's helpful for you. If you guys use it, let me see your results. I'd love to know how it turns out. Okay, so we've got the mangoes, jicama, black beans, jalapeno, red onions, 1/4 cup of cilantro. I feel like I'm just like, I've got a lot of new discoveries today. So I've shown you guys before the these unpaper towels that I use. I realized yesterday, so I have them, the ones that I got them from Etsy, but they come on a roll and they snap together. So there's 3 snaps and it's terry cloth and then whatever pattern, right? I've had these for years, and just the other day I realized when I was putting some like fresh herbs to dry, if you put it like this and you snap it, it's like it keeps them nice and contained and like together in the fridge, because I'll just put this straight in the produce drawer. I don't know. I was very excited for that one. I clearly get excited about a lot of stuff though. So, all right, so I've got fresh cilantro. One of my friends was telling me, we were at a food conference together, and she was telling me that you know how some people find cilantro soapy tasting and they don't like it? She said if they have the cilantro leaves and stems together, they won't think that it tastes soapy. She said she read up and there were studies on it. I'm not saying I don't believe you, Shadi, but I'd need to find a cilantro hater and like test that theory or that science, because I don't know. I like cilantro though. I can't remember if that's one of the things that there's like a gene that makes it, that you taste it like that. I feel like I read that one time, but who knows if that was for real. So I got cilantro, and again, all these things you really can adjust to however much you want. It's very forgiving and very flexible, and you make it and let it sit in the fridge, and the flavors kind of mingle together, and it should hold up for a couple days as long as your fruit isn't like super, super, super ripe. Not just super, super ripe, but super, super, super ripe. Because then it might get kind of funky. So I'm going to use a teaspoon of lime zest. We've been going through a lot of citrus lately because we've been doing some fun cocktails, and have some cocktail recipes coming to my site soon if you're interested. I haven't ever made a cocktail on Facebook Live because it's early in the day, but I mean, I guess I could do it later, or I could make something and save it for another time. Not that I'm above an occasional day drink, but it makes me tired and then I want to sleep. So I'm just getting a little lime zest in here before I juice it. And then just a tablespoon of lime juice. I'm just cutting this on a separate board. I do weird things like this because if I go to eat the other half, when I go to use the other half of this, if I cut it on this board, it's going to taste like onions and jalapenos. Cocktails, it's always 5 o'clock somewhere. Yes, it absolutely is. We've been, there's this app actually that if you get into like crazy craft cocktails like we have been lately, there's this app called Mixel, Mixel, and it has all of the like really fun cocktail recipes from, hey Alexa, really fun cocktail recipes from like some of the big places in New York City, like Death & Co. and Please Don't Tell. They have some really good stuff. All right, then I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of sea salt. You can use whatever salt you have. I just, for whatever reason, went with sea salt when I made this recipe. This is one I've had forever from a place in Grand Central, O&Co. They have really good oils and stuff if you're ever in there. It's like outside of Grand Central Market, but so sea salt's a little kind of coarser than table salt, and you could use kosher salt, really whatever. All right, so this is everything. I'm just gonna stir it, and that's it. It's super, super simple. What's cooking? It is technically not cooking today. It's a mango, jicama, and black bean salsa. And I showed, if you missed it, I showed my favorite way to cut up mangoes using a glass. It makes it a lot easier to get the skin off. This is it, guys. It's really nice, fresh. It's like perfect for summer, like I said. I think this would be really great with some seafood. As an appetizer, you could cut everything up a lot smaller, or even you can even chop it in the food processor and make like a smoother type of salsa, but I just kind of like the big chunks of all these different colors. So I do them with tortilla chips. Sorry, this is going to be crazy loud on the microphone. Okay, PSA, this is not sponsored, but this brand, Hare's restaurant style tortilla chips, I've really been liking them lately because they're really crunchy. They stay crunchy for a long time, like even after it's open, you use a chip clip. And they're not by the regular, in my store, they're not by the regular chips aisle. They're like on an end cap next to some like tortillas and things. So it's separate, but it costs less, and they're delicious, so I've been into that. All right, show you a little bit. Oh, it's on my laptop now. So here we go. That's really good. And the jicama is so crunchy and delicious. I hope you like this recipe. If you try it, let me know. You can hashtag it CookBigFlavors. You can find me on social media at Big Flavors, on Twitter at Big Flavors Blog. I'm going to cover this and let it sit in the fridge till tonight. But you can make it as early in advance as you like, a couple days even. But just pop a lid on it in the fridge, and it'll be good to go later. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. No, I think that's it. I will be back next Friday, August 2nd. Let me know if you guys have any requests feedback. I'm always looking to help you find the types of recipes that you're looking for, whether it be for cooking live like this or on my website. I like helping other people get excited about getting in the kitchen and cooking. And also, I've had a bit of a hiatus from my newsletter. I have an email newsletter. I put a link in the description if you're interested in signing up. I usually send, when I'm on it, I send it out about once or twice a month. So I have some fun new ideas for ways to make it more geared toward what you guys are looking for. There's a link up top. It's bigflavorstinyKitchen.com/subscribe, and you can add yourself to my list. I don't sell the email addresses or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun way, and I think I'm going to do things like Jicama, for example. One newsletter might be like, here's 8 different ways you can use Jicama. Like, here's recipe links, here's a little info about it. I feel like that would be helpful because there's nothing worse, especially I feel like fresh herbs and stuff like that, you get like a big pack of it. And then, like I have this cilantro, I don't want it to go bad. It's not like it's crazy expensive, but I really have been trying to cut on like kitchen waste. So give me, 5 different ways to use cilantro so that when I make this recipe, I can pick a couple other recipes maybe that'll help me use the rest of it. So let me know if you think that would be helpful, or if you have any other ideas. I would love to chat. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.